Let the sunlight in.
Good morning, sunshine of my life. You look happy today.
I am. I came in here and I saw there was a whole pile of washing to do.
But I thought you didn't like doing the washing.
No, I love it. Anything else you need washed?
Sunlight 2-in-1 with added fabric softener. Smells so good, you want to use it again and again.
Let the sunlight in.
Sunlight 2-in-1. Sunlight clean, sunlight fresh.
Sunlight in. Happiness is all around. Let the sunlight in.
Is your internet provider turning your world upside down? Broadband Company offers fast and reliable internet solutions. And for the first 100 subscribers this month, we offer zero connection fees. Save up to 400,000. For more information on these offers, call toll-free 0800 222 111.
Broadband Company, more than you expect.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90 is brought to you by Stanbic Bank.
Welcome back on Spectrum tonight. Scrutiny of the Public Order Management Bill. Do we need this law in order to have organized and better policed public gatherings? Our guests tonight, Assistant Superintendent of Police Anotoli Muleterwa, Community Liaison Officer from the Kampala Metropolitan Police, and Mr. Timothy Kabaale, Communication and Advocacy Officer at the African Center for the Treatment and Rehabilitation of Torture Victims. You'll be able to call in. I'll read out the numbers in that time comes. Mr. Kabaale, give us a little bit more about those poison clauses, the ones that make it, well, not smell good.
Okay. Thank you, Edmond. When you look at Section 8, where the authorized officer is granted powers, the IGP or the authorized officer, to grant, to allow people to demonstrate or not, really, that is where I bring in the other issue of the Mwanga Kiguvumbi versus Attorney General. The Constitution of Uganda, under Article 92, provides that no legislation shall be made to overturn a decision of a court. By doing this, by putting this
let's
in,
explain to those who might not know Mwanga Chivumbi. What did the courts decide? They struck off
they struck off Section 32 of the Police Act, which provided for the for the Inspector General of Government
or police,
police
yes,
permitting people to exercise their freedom of assembly, association, and what have you, as put under that section of the Police Act. Like
in other words, the court said you don't need police
permission
and this law
to enjoy your right. This law is trying to reverse,
which is unconstitutional.
Which is unconstitutional according to Article 92 of the Constitution of Uganda.
Right.
The other one is the issue of.
We'll come to that. We'll come to you, Mr.
The issue of practicality. You're telling somebody to notify you within 7 days. This person notifies you. You say no. Again, instead of this person resorting to the courts of law, you're telling this person to appeal to the Inspector General of Government, who is the same person who has delegated powers to this person who has refused.
What is the sense of justice in that?
So,
in the sense of justice, we'll do what?
What is there saying?
One thing is that we are jumping to the clauses without understanding the principles of this whole thing. And one Edmond plus my fellow panelists, I want us to draw attention to these very pertinent issues. Yes, there may be clauses that may not please all of us.
That should be removed.
That may be removed. Not that it should be, because I'm not the maker. For me,
you are a man of conviction. You've been
yes, but I don't believe
some of those that should
listen. Why did you go for baptism?
Go on.
Now, some of the principles in which we need to understand this bill very clearly is explained in the memoranda of this very bill. One is that the object of this bill is to provide the regulation of public meetings, the duties and responsibility of the police officer, organizers, and the like. Two, the bill in particular seeks to manage public order in partnership. Please, what is that partnership? Can we really understand the essence of partnership? You know, we are coining so many English verbs to bring in and suit. Please, let me call upon you, fellow panelists. that when we are here debating this very issue, we have been assumed to be very, very, very good on sensitizing people, and whatever we talk may either bias for the good or the worst. So we really have to present whatever we are presenting on the premises of these fundamentals on which the bill was based. 3, it talks about the bill seeks to specify procedures to be followed when organizing assemblies and demonstrations and all that. Now, in part 3 of this very bill, part 3, there is one clause, clause 9, subsection 3, which says it requires an authorized officer to have regard to the rights and freedoms of the persons in respect. Now, when we really talk, it appears we are thinking that this bill has come to remove all rights of those intending to demonstrate.
Just remove only a few.
No, which few? By the way, let me ask, when we are talking about here rights, why do you really think that the right to demonstrate is the superior one? Because to other rights, because when we really look at all rights of an individual, there is the right to life, the right to own property.
So this one we should shelve it.
No, I will give you instances. If we want to talk about rights, why don't we really have a universal, a general perspective of how we really need the audience to understand us? Because when we really think and emphasize on demonstration, it appears that is the only thing. It is the only thing.
We should talk about other things.
Yes, there are other rights. These rights, some people tend to abuse it.
So even if this one is taken away, we can.
I'm not saying so. That is your own person. That's your view. No, there is. We are talking about regulation. We are not talking about
Mr. Kabaale.
Please, let's emphasize on regulation, not removal.
Mr. Muleterwa,
and that's what this law is talking
this
about.
bill particularly is inclined towards the control of the freedom of assembly, speech, expression, conscience and association.
Even conscience?
Yes.
The way you think might be monitored?
Yes, the way you think might be monitored. When you look at the responsibilities of an organizer, the responsibilities of an organizer, it provides that as an organizer, you should ensure that all participants are unarmed and peaceful.
Yes.
That is section 12, subsection C. It also says that ensure that statements made to the media and public do not conflict with any law. That is where the issue of conscience comes in.
So if you call a press conference at a bar, at a restaurant, the owner is supposed to monitor.
Not only that, take an instance of where you are having a demonstration of 200 plus people, and the last person gives an interview to a news person. You are to be responsible for what that person has said, regardless of your positioning at that time. It is impractical.
What is the worst case scenario in case this bill passes? And well, God forbid, supposing it passes, what's the worst case? What could happen?
But why do you want to look at the worst cases?
Scenario?
Edmond, can you really not bias the debate?
We talk about scenario management. Let's hear it. What would happen in case if a bad government came to power and decided to abuse it? What would happen?
If a bad government came to power, one, this bill would be a basis for, if it is enacted into law in its current format. Our argument is alterations have to be made as far as certain provisions are concerned.
If nothing is changed and a bad government came to power.
If nothing is changed and a bad government came to power, the likelihood of people expressing themselves on issues that are critical to their well-being, that are not being handled well by the government, would be diminished.
People will not be able to talk about electricity,
they will not be able to
water,
talk about electricity,
roads, potholes and so on.
Anything, as long as it concerns policy that affects them. And two, these incidents we've been seeing of errant officers shooting one or two persons, there is a likelihood that in a bad government it would increase. We would have scenarios of people, because it provides for the use of firearms without very clear guidelines on how it should be done. That is what we are saying. We have actually
policemen
come up with
who shoot,
reasons.
even accidentally, they will be go do it with impunity.
Of course, if some instances of that nature happen now, what if it is legalized in this bill as it is? What would happen?
Right. Mr. Muleterwa.
Yes, please.
Defend your bill, my friend.
No, I'm not here to defend. Please, Edmond, you please don't bias the whatever the listeners think that.
You quoted the Bible. Go on, sir.
Yeah, the Bible is there. It's a spiritual guideline for all of us, really, those who believe in the Christian and God. Really, instances. One thing is that my colleague has really seen the essence of this bill. There may be clauses that may be infringing or be contradicting with the other spiritual law, but the best side of it is that the bill is necessary to regulate certain actions of certain individuals. What I would like also to bring out clearly is that on the part of the police, it does not really mean that when this bill is passed, either in its current form, police is at liberty to be trigger happy. In anything, it is going to be more stringent, because this time round you must be able to justify your action as a policeman for the decision taken.
Yes.
Therefore, this should be in a way be pleasing to those who may think that a policeman, when he has committed whatever, he can go scotch free.
Yes.
This is not. This is very clear there that a policeman must be able to curtail his actions should he become a trigger happy person and even be able to say is shooting or is tear gassing or is whatever. So these are certain things which you
tear gassing chickens in some.
I am not sure, but if those happen, then they are quite regrettable. But I want also to emphasize on this that when we are looking at all of this, fellow listeners and participants in this debate, we must know that we are all policemen, because when we talk about the role of a policeman, it is not only me in uniform. When you look at Article 17 of our Constitution, it talks about the duty of a citizen who must be able to regulate my actions. That if I have done anything wrong, you can
even arrest you.
Yes, definitely.
Like if you set up a rival police station, an illegal police station.
Yes.
We saw it not far too far.
Yes. Now, why it happened in Kawempe?
Yes.
Now, if that has happened, why do you think that when this bill passes out, it is going to make police be glorified?
Mr. Kabaale.
This is not the essence.
Yes.
Please, let's not so much.
Should not be too afraid.
No. Not be benefit.
Policemen are good men. They won't hurt us.
No, but definitely we are human beings. Do you think as a policeman, I am a father, I am an uncle, I am a guardian, and I have a stake in this country?
Mr. Kabaale.
Edmond, what I would like our dear listeners out there to know, one, is that there are so many flaws that have been identified as far as this bill is concerned. For Parliament to go ahead and pass it in its current format would be a disservice to this nation. They would be infringing on fundamental human rights that are not only guaranteed by the Constitution of Uganda, but are also guaranteed by international instruments to which Uganda is a party. We have come up with an analysis of this bill. Members of the civil society have come up with an analysis of the bill. There is a publication, 12 reasons why it should not be passed in the way it is. Yes. The other issue that I would like to highlight is that I'm a bit uncomfortable with, yes, as far as this bill is concerned.
Yes.
The timing itself is a bit not the best, considering that there is a lot of competition for attention with so many other
there's no election, so
many other issues, and the level of publicization that this bill has received. You would be surprised that quite a number of people out there, yes, do not know what this bill is about. They don't know what the contents are, and
so the government is hiding it. That's what you're saying.
The speed at which it is being worked upon, yes, is a reason to worry. So we would want people to understand what this bill is about, to be able to critique and see provisions that are going to affect the way they live their daily life, the way they are going to express themselves.
Let's hear from our listeners. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. Tonight's scrutiny of the Public Order Management Bill. Do we need this law in order to have organized and better police public gatherings? Our numbers 0414 348 111, 0312 260 390, 0312 261 390. When you call in, please tell us your name and where you are calling from. Spectrum, hello? 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 Okay, we seemed... Yes, hello? Hello? There seems to be a problem with the lines. Please do try. They're going to be rectified, and I'll let you know when you can. Okay, now, Spectrum, hello? Okay, alright. Okay, Mr. Kabaale, what are some of the clauses that could be removed to make it sanitized? Okay, we have someone coming through now. Okay, Spectrum, hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir, your name?
I'm called Steven.
Yes, Steven.
And I'm calling you from Wandegea.
Yes.
Thank you for the two gentlemen you just brought in the studio. But Anotoli, that's police agent, the gentleman, is trying to divert people from what the government is actually trying to stifle. Because the government is out to stifle demonstrations. For him, he's now talking about other rights. This bill is basically on demonstrations and people's rights to associate. I think if we just kill him on that, we shall get to the point. Then the other thing is he's already biased. He's like a government spokesman. So we are worried if it remains like that, such a people, what they're about to do. Thank you.
Spectrum, hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir, your name?
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Judge Ambrose Kenya is my name.
Yes.
I think that even if there are a law in place, I would love to ask the police officer in the studios how many people had gathered at Sensible that caused the stampede. You people whom sometimes in fact you refer it to Buganda riots. How many people had gathered? Wasn't that a circumstantial event by you, the police, who stopped the particular to go to Bugere? So I think that even if there is a law, I'm telling you, Mr. Police Officer, that you will never see. Oh, I will never fold my hands at Judge Ambrose when I am having a poor service delivery by women, and you expect me to come at your police station to ask you as to how I will tell women that you are giving me poor service?
Spectrum, hello?
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening, sir. Your name?
This is the councillor Sima Godfrey from Rubaga, no?
Yes.
At KTTS. Good evening, everybody in the studios.
Yes, good evening.
But I want to tell him, the other gentleman, leave alone the police officer, that when much as we are talking about the rights, the police officer has rightly said, you have also to look at other rights. Don't just look at only one right that is supposed to be enjoyed by the people. Because these demonstrations normally turn out to be riots. And that's why we have the anti-riot police to make sure that it comes in if these demonstrators become a bit riotic. So we should understand the Constitution talks about peaceful demonstration. And I want to ask a question. Why does somebody who has organized a demonstration want to run away from the responsibility of those people who have misbehaved, and you don't want this law to come? So we should be given time to look at this bill, and as you have said, we have a critique and see what is proper and what is not proper. But we should not just try to misinform the public that the bill is properly wrong.
Edmond,
good evening.
Good evening. Your name, our final caller?
Yeah, Jimmy is the name.
Yes.
Now, this public management order bill, basically, for those who want to hide behind semantics, God forbid, is just meant to curtail freedoms of the people, especially with different views from the regime. Now, I remember many years ago there was a regime of apartheid in South Africa, and they had laws in place. But these laws were on the books, but illegal or illegitimate in the eyes of right-thinking members of society. The policeman has labored and even gone the extent of almost losing his cool because you are showing him the facts. We need civility, we're a civilized lot. I don't think that regimes which want to curtail freedoms will last. Actually, they will be on the dung heap of history. So policeman, just style up. Good evening.
Studios, Mr. Kabaale. Some demos were licensed by police. They turned violence. 2007, Mavira.
Yes. Our take on such instances is the bill should harmonize the actions of people. Those are actions of people of a criminal nature. You cannot hold someone responsible. For instance, there might be a demonstration where the Ugandan of Asian descent was...
2 people were killed.
Yes, was the 2 people who were killed. you would be hard pressed to pin that on the person who led the demonstration.
Well, but the government, the police licensed that demonstration. Kale Kaihura licensed it, and that's how it turned out.
So, in my opinion, if he licensed it and that happened, does it mean that when this law is in
well, they've
place,
learned their lesson, so they are now being more careful?
Something like that would not happen. I believe the laws we have and certain sections of this bill are okay. They can address such situations. And the other thing is, it's very, very difficult to exercise the desired control over human nature. Like there is a saying that every action elicits a reaction. Most of these things are circumstantial. It depends. You might have a demonstration that is licensed by police that turns riotous, and one that is not, that does not turn riotous. Examples have been given of the police officer Alphonse Mutabazi, who worked with Olaro Tunu to UPC officers, and there was not a riot during the course of that.
And it was not promoted.
And then there are those where those who are not permitted to work, to work in the issue of work to work, the situation degenerated into a riot. So it is actually not about the law. There is a saying that when you push somebody to the wall, you might not be in position to understand or to fathom what they would come up with. So our call is, one, let the legislators revisit certain provisions within the law. Let them revisit the discretionary powers that they are given to the Inspector General of Police, the Minister. You cannot imagine granting powers of gazetting any place public to just one individual, and it is subject to the will of that person. Remember, this is somebody who is appointed by another and is, in most times, they want to appease the appointing authority. That person may choose to gazette practically every available space as a public space where people can come to express themselves as far as issues are concerned with which they are dissatisfied. So we would want them to revisit the powers, the immense powers that they are granting to the minister, the immense powers they are granting to the police. We want them to look at Article 92 of the Constitution and do away with the provision that says the freedom to associate, express oneself, conscience, and assemble is subject to permission from any individual. The Constitutional Court pronounced itself on that, and we need not have another petition over the same issue after this bill has been enacted into law.
Mr. Muleterwa.
Yes, please.
You are convinced the bill should be shelved. I can see that on your face. Go on.
That is your suggestion. You know, they were going to have a saying that I'm
Go on.
And many have thought that I am very sentimental, which is quite unfortunate.
That saying means the spectators normally score more goals.
Yeah.
Go on.
Now, one thing really I must appreciate. One, I thank you very much, our listeners, for the call in, because this gives us the insight of what you are really thinking and taking on what we are saying, and it's good the message is being received down there. One other thing I really need us to appreciate is that any law that comes in place does not come in specifically to target a particular group of an individual, but it only comes in to regulate the conduct and behavior of the members of society. We really need to appreciate our historical past, on which I believe the people who are coming out with this bill have really had that historical perspective.
Right.
I want to tell you that as a community liaison officer, I did not start as a community liaison officer.
Yes.
I started as a DPC, and I've always had a forefront, and I have a lot of emotion, a lot of empathy for the people I serve.
Yes.
At one time, I was a DPC CPS in 2009.
Right.
And during that time, there was the Kayunga demo, on which I think my brother is talking about the Seswa instance. I did my best really to use my professionalism and talk to the public.
But they could not listen.
Leave alone listening.
So
they threw stones at me.
We have to end here.
Now, I call upon everybody. is that there is nobody who can be able to lie behind instances of crime.
Yes.
Let everyone be held responsible,
Right.
because the current legal system does not really address issues where the organizer, the participants are responsible for their actions.
We have to go, and of course we know the UN has also expressed its opposition, rightly or wrongly. That's not from it. So we have to go. Thank you very much, indeed, our dear guest, Miss Assistant Superintendent of Police Anotoli Muleterwa, Community Liaison Officer, Kampala Metropolitan Police. Thank you for coming to Spectrum, sir. Mr. Timothy Kabaale, Communication and Advocacy Officer at the African Center for the Treatment and Rehabilitation of Torture Victims. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond Kizito. Spectrum will return on Monday. Up next, though, is the news in English. Do have a very, very good weekend.
I hope you are watching this fantastic Ugandan comedy on NTV called The Hostel, airing after the 9 o'clock news from Saturday to Tuesday. The Hostel is giving away 1 million shillings every week. All you have to do is type the word hostel and SMS it to 61